Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of the Think and Grow Rich Mastermind Live. Hi, my name is Ann McNeil, and I am the Master Wealth Builder, helping you to build a stronger and better life and business with this philosophy of Think and Grow Rich. And since 1979, I have been on this fabulous, awesome, wonderful journey, a journey that has created over six businesses for me, five that I started myself. And then the sixth one has just become a lifestyle of investing with better investing. But today, you are in for a treat because my co host, Galen Bingham, and myself will be hosting today. And we are bringing you into the show. So, if you're interested in participating with us as a part of the show live, as a part of our masterclass today, then you can click the link that we're going to share on StreamYard, and we will bring you in to the show to talk about the impact that autosuggestion has had on your life. But let me just talk a little bit about autosuggestion before I bring our fabulous co host. Well, men, I don't know if you call men fabulous, but Galen, you are fabulous. So let's talk about autosuggestion for just a moment. Napoleon Hill tells us that autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestion and especially self administered stimuli. And you can call that whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it an affirmation or prayer or quote, whatever it is that you use to program your own mind, or you're being programmed by others. And it is also called the agency of communication between that part of your mind and your subconscious that takes place. And some say it serves as the seed of action for your subconscious mind. So, with that thought in mind, with that thought in mind, with that thought in mind, what just happened? I'm encouraging you through autosuggestion to think about that thought in mind. That's just how simple it is. And that's what it looks like. Because through the dominating thoughts that you and I permit to remain in our conscious mind, these thoughts can be negative or they can be positive. This idea of the principle of autosuggestion reaches into your subconscious mind and then it begins to influence these thoughts. Now, let's bring Galen Bingham on and talk about who he is, what he does, and how this principle impacts that. Good morning, Galen. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. And I own fabulous. I'll have some fabulous. I'll embrace that.
Well, you're looking fabulous, my dear. Just simply fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, my name is Galen Bingham. I am the leadership strategist, and I am so excited to hang out with you guys every week with my fabulous co hosts. And I am a certified executive coach, but more important, I love helping people achieve those goals that they say they want to achieve. And this really does support my what I do professionally, because we all have in our consciousness these things that we believe that we want to accomplish. That's what we talk about. That's what we say publicly. But our subconscious is what's actually controlling our behavior. It's controlling our habit. How do you influence your subconscious mind to make sure that you're not sabotaging those conscious requests, those conscious wishes that you tell everyone that you want to achieve? This is how you influence your subconscious mind. And Napoleon Hill has captured all of the insights from talking to all of the successful people of his day. And I'm just so excited to share this with the audience, because this is a big part of what you have to do, what you have to embrace, what you have to leverage if you are actually going to achieve those things that you say that you want to achieve someday, whether it's money, whether it's success, whether it's a loved one, whatever it is. So I'm already getting into the content, Miss Ann. You need to reel me back in.
Well, Galen, while we reel you in, we want to encourage again all of the listeners. Please remember to comment, like, and share this show. You actually have time to connect with some friends and family, or maybe some coworkers, and say, "Listen, join us on the YouTube channel for Think and Grow Rich Mastermind Live this morning with Ann McNeil, the Master Builder, and Galen Bingham, the leadership coach and expert, and you." So, as we prepare while waiting for you to come on, we're dropping the link in the chat, and you can click that link and participate with us live on this podcast with your camera on or camera off. But we want to encourage you to think about, how do you impact your subconscious mind through this principle of auto suggestion? And as you think about that, we're going to go to describing the entire suite of principles called the 13 principles of this philosophy. Galen is going to share that with us. We're going to watch this short video, but then we're going to come back and begin to dig deep into this subject as we wrap it up today. Galen?
Yeah. So, one of the things we talk about is how this is a full philosophy. I mean, if we were to just talk about autosuggestion alone, it would be valuable. It would be worth your time. And that's what we're going to be doing today. But the beauty of this is that it fits into a full philosophy. And once you see how everything works together, then you start to begin to see the full power of how you can direct your mind to actually create the thing that you say that you want. So with that, take a listen to these all of these steps and consider how autosuggestion plays a role in a full-on philosophy.
Number one is desire. Napoleon. Number one. Number one. Number. Number one is desire. Napoleon Hill said. Number one is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Number one is desire. Number one is.
Okay, while we prepare for that,
I can take it.
this, Galen.
Number one is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do.
Yeah, let me just share. Let me just share.
Number.
We can do this. We can do this old school.
Number one.
Oh, go ahead, Galen. Go ahead.
Number.
Get Brittany. Just don't play the video, Brittany. Galen's going to do it old school. And he's
That's
going
right.
to walk through them. So
That's
let's just hold off on the video,
I'm,
please.
I'm actually going to go through my book. This is the book is kind of tattered now. It might be time for me to get another one. But here are the principles. The first is desire. And that's the starting point of all achievement. And you can't really achieve anything if you don't have a desire to achieve it. So that's the first principle. The second principle is faith. And that's the visualization and belief in the attainment of desire. If you have a desire but don't believe that you can achieve that desire, that's the second thing that you got to accomplish. Then it's auto suggestion. How do you actually create faith? How do you actually create this medium of influencing your subconscious mind so that you can achieve the accomplishments that you always say that you want to accomplish? After that, it's specialized knowledge. Specialized knowledge is that specific thing that only you can do, or that specific thing that you know. It's personal experiences or observations. In that principle, we talk about the distinction between general knowledge and specialized knowledge. General knowledge is what you learn in school, very important. Unfortunately, people tend not to pay you for general knowledge. That's what specialized knowledge comes in, and that's why that's important. The next principle, the fifth step, is imagination. And that's the workshop of the mind. How do you allow yourself to come up with these creative ideas? And we talk about the difference between creative imagination and synthetic imagination. So, synthetic imagination is where you're taking ideas that already exist and putting them together in a way that maybe they haven't been in the past. Whereas creative imagination is where you're getting inspiration and hunches from the ether and having the confidence to act against those hunches. And then we go to the sixth step, and that is organized planning. That's the crystallization of desire into action. How do you put this together in a way where it makes sense and you can actually act against it, and people on your team can help you act against it? That's organized planning. That's the sixth step to riches. The seventh step is decision. And this is where you actually make a decision that this is what you're going to accomplish. And you're putting the universe on notice that this is how this thing is going to occur, as opposed to allowing yourself to procrastinate because of indecision. The eighth step is persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. One thing I know for sure, and that is anytime you intend to do something or you plan to do something, it's not going to go exactly according to your plan. And so you have to have an element of persistence in order to achieve anything worthwhile and noteworthy. The ninth step is the power of the mastermind. This is the driving force. This is how you assemble a team of like-minded individuals around you to encourage you, give you ideas, give you suggestions, give you information, give you some of the resources that you need in order to in order to achieve your accomplishment. And quite honestly, that mastermind team, they are the ones, as one of my accountability partners says, they are the ones that will remind you of who you really are, because we all have a tendency to forget from time to time. The 10th step is the mystery of sex transmutation. And we always get a chuckle when we talk about sex. That's because we have a tendency to think of sex as being physical. Well, sex is physical, but it's also emotional. It's psychological. There's a spiritual element to it. How do you leverage those same concepts and principles that you use to attract the person of your desire? How do you use those same principles to attract wealth and success into your life? Because poverty is bold. Poverty doesn't need anyone to beckon it, it just comes. Success has to be wooed. And these principles are absolutely at play in this Think and Grow Rich philosophy. Then we move to the 11th step, and that is the subconscious mind. That is the connecting link. The brain, which is the broadcasting and the receiving station for thought. We tend to think of our brains as only in internal, but it's actually a mechanism for communicating and receiving information from your surroundings. And so, how do you leverage that in order to achieve this goal that you claim that you want to achieve? And then we finish with the sixth sense. This is the door to the temple of wisdom. It's the 13th step. And it's always interesting to me how Napoleon Hill gives you all of these specific things that you need to consider. And then he says, take a step back and just allow your sixth sense to guide you in this area that you're needing to go as it pertains to achieving your success. So those are the 13 principles, and we're not gonna let negative energy stop this flow. So definitely join into the conversation. We are ready for you. Come on, Ms. Ann.
Well, Galen, this is an excellent example of the power of autosuggestion. Thank you, Dr. Carla. She says, top of the morning, everyone, and a good morning to you, Cindy Johnson Monroe. Good morning. Doretha, all of you, good morning. Ladies, remember, we're dropping the link in the chat on YouTube, and we're asking you if you're interested in participating in the show today. Just click the link and we will bring you into the studio on StreamYard to participate in this awesome conversation as we wrap up this principle of autosuggestion. But I also want to just share a quick story. We're talking about the power of autosuggestion. So we're going to say cancel clear to the comment that my co-host just made that is not negative energy. What we just did, yes. What we just did, yes. See, I choose to program my subconscious mind. Remember now, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's true or false. It only knows what you tell it over and over and over again. And I choose to program my subconscious mind for the positive. So we're going to say cancel clear to any negative words, comments, thoughts, or energy that's in cyberspace. What just happened with that video is an example of the power of autosuggestion. You get to choose how you receive that. Let me give you an example. Napoleon Hill tells us basically, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's true and false. It only knows what you tell it over and over and over again. And we're reading this chapter, this principle in preparation for today's program. The author says, play a trick on your mind. Yes, play a trick on your mind and tell it what you want. In spite of the circumstances that are surrounding you, you get to choose by telling your subconscious mind exactly what you want, how much of it do you want, when do you want it by, and what are you going to do with it? You see, because if you focus on what you want more than what you don't want, if you focus your subconscious mind more on that dream, that goal, that vision, that purpose-driven life you desire, in spite of what is around you right now in the moment, looking forward into the future of what you're going to have, you keep doing what you need to do, focusing with accountability. He tells us that by having a mastermind group of accountability, eventually, inch by inch by inch by inch, you will see progress. And I was sharing a story earlier about when I read this, gosh, over and over, maybe about 30 years ago. I was in a network marketing organization. We won't say which one it was, but any of you that have been in network marketing, and I don't have a problem in telling you it was an Amway business. I did very well in the Amway business. And in reading this book while in that business, I was running. I mean, I was hitting that next level and the next level to the point of exhaustion. You all know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been in any kind of network marketing business, Mary Kay, Amway, Your Way, you name it, insurance, whatever it is. And I was, sleepless nights, driving miles and miles, and then had to be back to work the next morning. And sometime I would drive to another state. Yes, another state, do that plan and drive back home to be at work the next morning because I did not have the money to fly and gas was not as expensive. And so, I get a buddy, a partner, and we'd make that drive and come back home. And one day, everything shifted in my mind, the power of the subconscious affirmation over and over and over again. So I get to work. And one of my coworkers looks at me and she says, "Oh my gosh, you look horrible, horrible." Now, I had a choice. I had a choice. I could choose how I received that information. Remember now, the power of concentration, you have that capacity with your burning obsession, your burning desire to only see your goal and your vision. She said, "Oh my gosh, you look horrible." Now, remember now, I'm just coming in from the night, yes, from the night before. And I went straight to work. She was absolutely right. I was tired. I looked tired. I looked bad. But I refused to receive the spirit in which she said what she said to me. So when she said, "My gosh, you look bad. You look, no, 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 no. You really look horrible." That's the word she used. I turned right eye to eye stepping forward, reminding me of that little girl that needed that 50 cent. You know the story. And I said to her in a real nice, calm voice, "Thank you for that compliment." She stepped back one step. And you know how we do, ladies, ladies, regardless of what color you are. She did the head thing. Compliment, she said. I said, "Yes, thank you for that compliment." Now, we all know she did not mean it as a compliment. She meant it the way it came out in the spirit and intent to be a negative, derogatory remark about me. But I chose to respond like this. I said, "Thank you for that compliment." She said, "I didn't intend it for a compliment." I said, "Listen, I have no control of how you choose to send that message, but I do have control of how I choose to receive it. And I choose to receive it as a compliment because for the mere fact of how I look, it just means to me and to you that I'm hustling." I'm hustling toward my dream and my goal, which was to get out of that job. Guess what? She's still working. I'm not. So I want to encourage you as you learn the power of your own auto suggestion words, because all of my self talk and listening to these audios and these watching these videos and just reciting my own affirmation twice a day, like the guy said to do in this book, it wasn't until that point in my journey that I got it. I got it. I got it. I had the power. Napoleon Hills says that greatness is the ability to recognize the power of your subconscious mind, embrace it, and then use it. That day, for the first time in my life, I used it. From that day, 30 years ago to this day, I am still using it moment by moment as I receive anything that is not connected to my vision, my mission, my goal, like what just happened in that video, is positive. Why? Because it gives us data. It gives us data to use in any way we choose, and we choose to use it in a positive manner. So, enough about that. What we're going to do right now, we're going to go to our studio. We're going to go back to Galen, and we're going to prepare to bring any of you on to talk about any example of your affirmation or auto suggestion. Go ahead, Galen. I see you have
Yeah, let me share a similar story before we bring in some of our guests, because this again is a short story that I shared earlier, that I've been working for the past 3 years, 4 years on this leadership space that I'm in now, content development, podcast, coaching, executive coaching. But before that, I spent 30 years in corporate America in pursuit of becoming a senior vice president of sales, 22 years of which I spent with the Coca-Cola company, really driving hard after this corporate vision that I had for my career. And then after a while, I just decided, hey, look, I'm here to do my own thing. Again, leadership focus, creativity. And I kept getting comments from you, Miss Ann, that Galen, you seem double-minded, right? Are you sure you want to do this thing that you're focused on, or is there a tug for you to go back to corporate America? And consciously, I was saying, no, this is where I am. This is what I want to do. But there was this disconnect, and it wasn't until I started reading this chapter again, and I'll share with you the passage that I read. I'm embarrassed to say it's in the first sentence of this chapter. It says, "Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the five senses." And then I took a look around my office, and although I'm working on my computer, on this wall, I had pictures of my corporate experience. And Brittany, I think I sent you a copy of that picture. Let me share the picture that I have of my wall right behind my computer. This was the wall right behind my computer that I was trying to envision my future, but I had all of these images from my office when I was at the Coca-Cola company, promotions that I'd done, things that I'd created, aspirations. And that's why I was feeling this tug between the future I was trying to create on my computer and the past that was pulling me subconsciously from the wall. And so the very next thing that I did after I saw that is I took all the pictures down. I just took all the pictures down and just left it totally blank. And at that point, I felt a change in the energy of my room. I started creating with much more clarity than I had experienced in the past. And then this last picture, I just threw up some images that inspire me. I've got a whole lot of stuff coming out off of Etsy and Amazon, but these are things that inspire me, that speak to where I'm trying to go. Miles Davis is a member of my invisible board of directors. There's artwork from my daughter. So these are things that inspire me. But I just really wanted to highlight that, to reference how important it is to think about how your five senses are receiving information that is influencing your subconscious. And if you're not careful, you might not be achieving your goals because your conscious is not in line with all your subconscious messages. And again, I got that from the first sentence, the first sentence of this chapter. And quite honestly, I must have read that sentence 150 times. But it just hit me. Someone snuck in and changed the words and included that sentence because it wasn't there before.
Wow, Galen, you are burning up the chat here. JSW says persistency, consistency, staying ready, steady. So they said they're sucking it up. Um, awesome, yes. Dr. Ruben with a clap. Uh, Teresa Davis, good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Cindy, Dr. Carla, all of you, thank you. We're going to take a moment, Galen. I shared before the program started, I think we may have people who are joining us and they have no idea what we're talking about. And I just want to just mention that we're wrapping up this principle called autosuggestion. And autosuggestion is another form for self-suggestion. I like to call it subliminal seduction. And if you have a desire for money, he gives us a plan. They're actually called the summary of instructions, and it's 6 steps. The first step, Napoleon Hill says, is that you must go and decide how much money you want. The second step is, what are you going to do for the money? The third is by what date you're going to get the money. The fourth is to have a plan of action. The fifth is to create that plan of action into an affirmation. And the sixth step is to recite it twice a day. But then he goes even further and he says that now you must, with feeling, and we keep talking about this, and I don't think we can talk about it enough. You must, with feeling, be willing to program your own mind with this affirmation statement. It can be as long or as short, however you choose to make it. But he also tells us that you should recite it once upon arising in the morning and then once before retiring at night. Then he gives you an example of how and what you can say. But he also reminds us to go back to the beginning of this book with the desire chapter. And as you reread these 6 steps, then you connect with your accountability group or the individual who's holding you accountable to make sure that by faith, absolute faith, you are actually doing the work. Now, I'm just going to read something that he says here to just help us understand what does that sound like. He says, go into a quiet spot, preferably at bed at night, but wherever you choose, you can do that. Some place where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes and then repeat aloud the statement that we just discussed. He gives you an example of what the statement should sound like. And many of us have modeled this statement for our own lives. He says, by the first day of, and you choose the date, I will have in my possession. He uses the example of $50,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I would give the most efficient service of which I am capable of rendering the best possible quantity and quality of service in the capacity of whatever it is that you choose that's important to you, whatever that business you're going to have. Then he goes on to say that I believe that I have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands, and I am awaiting transfer of it at the time. And this is the part that got me for years, because it was this statement will and can be, I have to take a deep breath here. It will pull the sheet off of the realization of what you're actually doing, because he says that I am awaiting a plan by which to achieve this money. And that while I'm awaiting for the transfer to me and the time and the proportion that I deliver the service, this is the key. If you're not delivering a service, there's no wonder why you may or may not be hitting your goal. But in return for this, I'm awaiting for this plan by which to accumulate this money, and I will follow that plan once it is received. And he's asking you to repeat this twice a day. Let me restate it so that I can be clear that you're hearing me clearly. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch this money with my hands. I am now awaiting transfer to me at the time and the proportion that I deliver the service I intend to render in return for it. That's it. That's it, Galen. That's it, Galen. Very simply, that is it. And was very convicting. This is my story now. Everybody got a story. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Queen Imelda. But what's very convicting, Galen, is that when I was not rendering the best possible quality of service and the best quantity of service, my business was reflective of that. But by reciting this statement twice a day and being convicted, slowly, not quickly, slowly, I began to do the work. And if you're wondering, as you're listening to Galen and I, what's the work? This is the work. See, we want to think, Galen, that the work is outside of us. The work is inside. You see, because my self-confidence, my self-image, my vision of myself, my vision of my businesses, that is the work. I had a brunch with a friend. I'm not going to call his name. He's listening. He know who he is. And I was reciting this to him, and I know he's smiling right about now as he's driving. Yes, you know who you are. I'm pulling you into the show, even though you can't come into the show. And I said, the work in your business as you think about starting this new business, it's not outside of you. And that's what many of us don't get, Galen. And you've been there. I've been there. And actually, we're still there because it's called the journey. It is an inner journey. The self-talk, the journaling, the affirmations. That is the hardest thing to stick to when you don't necessarily have the self-discipline. Cindy says, I am slowly changing my mindset. And that's the key, Cindy. It is a slow process, like a good pot of beans. You can't turn that pot on and all of a sudden it's done. That soup you put in the microwave is no comparison to that pot that sits all day. And actually, if you wait till the next day, Galen, My grandma used to say that's a good pot of beans.
That's a good pot of beans.
So what say ye, Galen?
I mean, one of the things that we talk about a lot is how you're trying to influence your subconscious mind, and you are competing against all these other messages that are also trying to influence your subconscious mind. There's a reason why you can watch a 30-minute television show and see 10 different commercials. And if you notice those commercials, the volume tends to be a little louder than the television show. The reason for that is because these advertisers, and I've worked for a couple of the largest advertisers on the planet, they know that if they can speak a little louder, if they can tell you a message multiple times in this space, that they can influence your behavior by speaking to your subconscious mind. So you've got all of these people competing for your subconscious mind because they know your subconscious mind is what drives behavior. You can do the same thing. The way you influence your subconscious mind is through auto-suggestion. And you've got to be intentional about it. You've got to put in the work. It's not going to come easy. Napoleon Hill says that poverty is bold. Poverty that doesn't need any requests to come in, but success has to be wooed. Success has to be nurtured. It has to be seduced, and it requires work. So that's what this is about. I don't know how this works. I just know that it seems to work.
But listen, we do have in the studio, we're going to bring Doretha on first, a couple of our staunch supporters as a part of this podcast. And Doretha, good morning, good morning, good morning, Doretha Dennis. She's on audio, ladies. And so I said to everybody, now, ladies, we know Saturday morning, you got to be ready for this. So, Doretha, what do you have for us this morning? Can you give us an example of your using this powerful principle called autosuggestion? Your thoughts.
Yes, good morning. And thank you for allowing me to pop in and share my experiences. Auto suggestion goes way back in my life. I didn't know that was what it was called, but I had teachers who influenced me. I had a teacher who would always say to us, failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. So we had to get our work done. And then I had another instructor who would say, where there is a will, there is a way. And whatever year it was, 2022 is looking better each and every day. So I always had positive influences in my life. Didn't realize it was called auto-suggestion. And then later on, um, auto-suggestion was really introduced to me by a colleague. And I met Ann McNeil. I became a part of a mastermind group. There, I infused a vision board, this repeating of these positive affirmations. I wrote one for my personal life, and I wrote one for the desire that I wanted. And then just recently, I joined the Clarity Mastermind group, where every month we focus on different videos. There is Joseph Rodriguez, I listen to a lot. And then the challenge of Earl Nightingale, that's a 30-day challenge. We do that daily. And then that powerful, powerful self confidence formula. There is a piece in there that I really like because it takes me back to my childhood. Grew up in the deep South where negative, oh my goodness, that deep South, or when there was segregation and all of that. So yes, positive affirmation, auto suggestion has been a part of my life for quite a while now.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going, Galen, I'm not sure if you have a question for her. Otherwise, we're going to go on to Imelda Wallace. And I want to just share with all of our listeners, as a part of our masterclass, we are here for you. This is your time to interact with us as we interact with you. Many of you are here every single Saturday. This is our podcast. And so, Imelda, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I am well, and I'm just laughing over here because this show this morning has sparked some things. I'm actually sitting in my car from watching the sunrise, but I remember watching you all. I think about 2 weeks ago I was on. And I said I'm gonna be back on that show one more time, and look
Wow.
at me today. I am here because I thought in my mind, and I kept saying it out of my mouth that I'm gonna get back on that show again. So I'm here today. I'm excited.
Awesome, awesome. But you know what you just
Yeah.
said is actually an example. That's a real live example of the power of autosuggestion. You said it. Oh, I get chills. You said it, and the universe heard you and brought to you
Yes.
exactly what you desire in
Woo.
instantly.
Yes. 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 And there are several things that I use to exercise auto-suggestion is such as my affirmations. It's funny, and because what you read earlier, I wrote it down in reference to what it was talking about the statement of the desire. And I said, wow, it's amazing how I wrote it down because I'm sitting right and I wrote that down and you mentioned it and I used those 6 steps. I also used affirmations, my self-confidence with you with Clarity Mastermind, and some of the women that the small group that we have apart from the large group that we hold ourselves accountable, for what we say we're going to do. Also, vision boards. My vision boards have. I remember, if I can give this short testimony, I remember before I attended Berry University, I put up a map of the school on my vision board, and I would drive through the school. And I said, well, I need to start getting out of the car like I'm going to the classroom. I would get out of the car, go to the class, go to the building, and come back out and say, one day I want to be in here. And I'm now working on my doctorate degree at Berry University. And that was before I received my bachelor's degree.
Awesome. Listen, the power of the
Yeah.
subconscious mind, oftentimes we don't know how to program it. And that's what we want to
Mm-hmm.
show and share with our listeners today. And the two of you have been on listening to us for years. And when we
Yes.
watched each other's journey, it is very important that we understand how and why. You see, there's something that goes on in our mind where we become unconsciously conscious. And then
Right.
over time, we become consciously conscious of what we are doing as we master different principles. It is a function of time. This is not a microwave process. And
Right.
so we thank you so much, Imelda, for coming on. We're going to
Mhm.
go ahead and start wrapping up.
Thank
And we want
you.
to make sure everybody who's listening, if you desire to come on and share with us. When we do our masterclass, we're going to continue to drop the link in the chat. And so, ladies, thank you so much, Abundant Health. Yes, you gotta be that thing before you be that thing. Thank you. That's what she said. Auto suggestion is an essential tool, be it mentally to be it physically. And that is the order. That is the order. Thank you so very much, Abundant Health. And so, Galen, we're going to go ahead and prepare to wrap up. So, if you want to share any uh, any additional thoughts about this philosophy and this principle.
Yeah, I mean, so I gotta make one more comment about that because while I was on vacation, I was listening to the show and I heard that there is this indictment that I always bring scripture into these principles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not on camera, but you did even today. You did talk about passage.
But
This passage.
here's another example of what just abundant health just talked about. I mean, think about how the scripture talks about how everything was created. It doesn't say that the world was created and then God said, let us create the world. God spoke it first. And then it was. He didn't create man and say, huh, let us create a man. He said, let us create man in our image. And then it was created. And a lot of times, I think we talked about this last week, a lot of times we think it can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. There has to be something complicated about this. Well, Napoleon Hill is suggesting that it is exactly that easy.
It is.
Scripture says that it is exactly that easy. Not only scripture, the Holy Bible, but the Quran says that it's exactly that easy. Buddhism says it's exactly that easy, that as a man thinketh, so
So
he
is
is,
he.
so is he.
Yep.
So how many different messages do you need to have telling you the exact same thing before you're willing to give it a shot? It is exactly that easy. And as I say often, I double dog dare you to give it a shot because you'll be amazed and surprised at how much power you have in your tongue. You can't just think it though. You've got to say it. You've got to say it out loud.
Yeah, Imelda just put something in the chat and she said, we have to do the work. I want to go back to the first principle though, Galen. You see, I believe, and I can just speak for myself, one of the challenges in believing that it's possible is not having a desire. You see, that other book also says that I would give you the desire of your heart. But see, it's our responsibility to place a desire in the heart. You see, because without a desire, what good is autosuggestion? What good is faith? What is good is any of these principles if I don't want for something? And I remember when I started getting this, and I'm still on the journey like everybody else, I realized that I was not dreaming big enough. That is powerful because if my desire is small and my job will give it to me, I don't need to work for that. But if my desire is so big, I gotta hustle like I did and like I do even to this day. Then the autosuggestions, then the scripture, then the affirmation, then the quotes, all of those things become important to the journey, to keep journeying along the way in an attempt to hit those goals. But only if you and everybody who's listening, either live or in the future, what is it that you want? Galen, what's up with that?
I,
Imelda, Imelda says, last week I spoke out of mouth that I needed $500. I spoke it, wrote out a plan for what I was going to do with it and received it the following week. Now I'm gonna challenge you, Imelda, put another zero on it. Put 2 zeros on it. This is where that faith kicks in, everybody, because now I must walk by faith and not by sight. Come on.
Now look who's preaching. Now look who's preaching. You know, there's a we are going to need to start closing down, but I am going to
3
say
points at a close. Go ahead.
back to what you were saying earlier about dreaming big enough, and I challenge a lot of my coaching clients that the way you know whether or not you're dreaming big enough is if your dreams should make you pee in your pants just a little bit, right? It should be, oh my God, really? Can I do that? And if you don't have that Moses moment of doubt as to whether or not you can accomplish this thing that you say, then you're probably not dreaming big enough. One of the people that I watch a lot on social media is there's a lot of great messages. Steve Harvey said the same effort it takes to manifest a BMW, to manifest a Volkswagen, is the same effort it takes to manifest a Rolls Royce. The same effort. You do the exact same things. He's just decided to manifest a Rolls Royce rather than a Volkswagen. And so back to what you were saying, Miss Ann, are you dreaming big enough? And that really hits me, knowing that that's coming from a lady who only works on $1 billion deals.
That's right. That's right. And I
Only
had to
working
elevate.
$1 million deals, and she's challenging herself to think maybe I'm not dreaming big enough.
Nope, nope, nope. I'll tell you this. When the president came out with the $1 trillion infrastructure bill, it challenged me. And I said, wow, $1 trillion. I'd like to get true story. And I just, just thought about this. I said, I'd like to be a part of that. How about I got to reach out from the White House, Pelosi's office. And then if any of you are on Twitter, they reached out, yes, they reached out to me to be a part of the conversation nationally representing the National Association for Black Women in Construction, and they did a video of me. I just saw it yesterday, actually. Twitter. So how big can you, every single one of you, put in the chat? What is it that you desire? Put it in the chat. Let's hold you accountable. That's what this masterclass is about. It's one thing for us, Galen, myself, Pegine, Dr. Peter, to show up here every single Saturday and talk, and our guests talk. But you, each of you, you're our guests. And like Pegine like to say, so just imagine we're all sitting around a big round table, and each of you have a seat at that table. And you must, number one, know how much money you want. Number two, know what product or service you're going to sell to get it. Number three, what date do you want it by? Number four, what's your plan? Number five, where's your affirmation? Number six, are you willing to be held accountable to recite it twice a day? Now, you may not want money. You may want health. You may want a better relationship with your family. Whatever it is, who's holding you accountable? Let's put it in the chat. I know I can go, Galen. Like I said, my mom was a holiness minister, and
See,
my father was a businessman. And I think between my brother and I, we ended up being a combination of the two. So, Galen, you want to talk about your experience with the annual meeting as we
yes.
prepare to wrap up?
Absolutely, absolutely. Each year we have a meeting in Boca Raton, Florida, where we gather like-minded people, who are on this journey with you, and we come to the same place, and we just literally report our life in writing. You have to bring your life in writing. And we also not only celebrate our accomplishments for the previous year, but we declare into the universe our plans for the upcoming year. And that's where you can find your accountability partners. That's where you can find people who are willing to and eager to hold you accountable for achieving what you said that you're trying to achieve. I really would challenge everyone to go ahead and look for the link, look for the opportunity, and plan on being in Boca Raton January 6th and 7th, and be prepared to have your life change. However, you've got to do the work beforehand. You've got
Yes.
to show up with your life in writing. You've got to put it on paper, because without putting it on paper, we can say anything to make ourselves feel good, but you have to put it on paper, because that's how the accountability begins. I challenge everyone to make plans on being in Boca Raton January 6th and 7th.
Thank you, Galen. I would be remiss if I did not add a little something to that. Can you put that JPEG back up? Thank you, Rhodesia Francis. She gave us her commitment to build a quadplex by the summer of 2022. I know you're on your way because you are an overachiever, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to mention, if you look in this photo, right in the center of the photo, you see a young person with her head tilted, with a big smile on her face. Actually, my hand is right. Uh, really, my hand is to keep her from moving, but and that's our 5-year-old granddaughter. Her name is Rajania. These children, we host a Think and Grow Rich mastermind for them every Sunday. And this is almost 30 years now. So now the children are having children. But these children come on and they're also reading this book, 2 pages a week with each other. And they're discussing what they're reading. And they're writing their goals. And the reason why you see every year them in these photos is because this is a family affair. And I just want to say that. And I mentioned her because her goal at 5 years old is to read 100 books by the end of the year. Wow. 100. So she, we have a date at the library every week, and she checks out books and she reads and discuss. Now, this is the point. What's our excuse, Galen, that cannot get through this book in a year? And all of these children are doing the same, and they take turns hosting. Go ahead, Galen.
No. I mean, I was just going to say, not only your grandbaby, but Shantae Wells is ready to join us on in this podcast as well. Let's go ahead and bring her from backstage.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Let her brag on
Good
her.
morning. Good morning. You want to share your auto-suggestion experience? You have to come off mute.
Great morning. How y'all doing?
Awesome.
Well,
Okay, we can't quite hear you.
Okay, so for me, when auto-suggestion, I think about something that my grandmother said, and we Southern, so I got to just say that thing the way it is.
Yes.
What's that? We can't hear you right now.
We're having technical.
You got to be that thing to be that thing.
Oh,
like
great.
You really truly have to be it before you actually be it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Put that in the chat for us.
The emphasis makes all the difference in the world, because you're absolutely right. It's
awesome.
Not enough to just think it. You've got to be that thing before you be that thing. You're absolutely right. Love it.
Now, another way of saying that, we've heard people say, fake it till you make it. Now, you can take that however you want to take it, but she's
right. So think about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but think about it, Ann. Before any of you became who you are, you physically were that already. When you did your contractor's license and all of that, you were it before they even gave you the certification. Same thing with you, Galen. Whatever industry you were in, you were that before you became it, and before others recognized it. So you got to be that thing before you be that thing. You got to see it in your mind's eye, as my grandmother would say. So auto-suggestion is essential. It's not an option. You have to have it. Thank y'all.
I love it.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. That's phenomenal. Galen, what a way to start another masterclass day. All right, Galen, you want to share with us a little bit about who you are, what you do before we wrap up?
Absolutely. This has been an incredible conversation. My name is Galen Bingham. I am the leadership strategist. I'm a certified executive coach. I do a lot of amazing things. You can find me all over the internet, but the best way, the easiest and the most fun way to get in touch with me is to search for my podcast, Whiskey, Jazz, and Leadership. We're on all podcast platforms, actually streaming in 20 different countries. We talk to leaders about the whiskeys they drink, the jazz they listen to, and what it really takes to be an effective leader. I double dog dare you to try us just once. I guarantee you will get something from the conversation. And back to you.
Yes. I also want to remind everybody, if you're interested in participating with us with our beta test for the International Mastermind Association, you can go to our website at Think and Grow Rich International Masterminders with an S.com. International Masterminders.com is the website. International Masterminders with an S.com /group mastermind. Register to participate with us once a month. We have a beta test conversation. Once a month, a beta test conversation on the good, the bad, and the ugly of mastermind groups. And we would love to have your voice. Just go there and register, and you'll get the information about how to join us. This has been a phenomenal show with you as our guests today. As we wrap up this Think and Grow Rich Mastermind Live, please comment, like, and share the show. If you have not subscribed, please do so. If you have subscribed, put it in the chat that you're already subscribed on our YouTube so that we can make sure that you get the notification every single Saturday. This has been about you and your auto suggestion and how do you use it. My name again is Ann McNeil, and I am, yes, I am, because I say I am, the master wealth builder, helping you to build a stronger and better life and business with this philosophy. And if you'd like to have greater clarity, yes, in your highest income producing areas of your business and your life, you can connect with me by going to annmcneil.com/coaching. Again, that's annmcneil.com/coaching. You can be my guest if you've not participated with us before. Register, and we will see you on the first Tuesday of the month, but only if you are serious about the accountability and having your desire. But right now, we're going to wrap up. We're going to share with you our guest for next week. Now, remember, please remember, share the show, comment, like, and share the show. So thank you so very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe. And Brittany, if you share the JPEG, the phenomenal guest we're having next week. It is a surprise. So we will see you next week, same place, same time. And we pray Godspeed for all of you, and everybody have a great day. Thank you.